Do you know that feeling of power you get whenever you put on your favorite dress? Or the confidence your new pair of shoes give you? It is undeniable that our clothes are a way to tell the world who we are and how we feel. However, most of the time we forget that our t-shirts, jeans, and jackets not only tell our story, but the one of millions of garment workers who are oftentimes overworked and underpaid. Hello, my name is Cristina, and I am recording this because I am passionate towards combating labor exploitation in the fashion industry, in any industry or place in the world. When I was about 12, my mom gifted me a subscription to Elle magazine, and I swear there are not enough words in the English vocabulary to properly describe the way I felt as I held it in my hands. Page after page there were outfits that spoke to who I was using different prints and patterns. But the reality was I could not buy any Prada bags, but I could endlessly daydream of a future where I may be able to. Then came along one of the biggest giants of my generation, fast fashion. It was a simple system in which I could have everything I yearned for without having to pay terrifyingly high prices. It was too good to be true. A few years ago, as part of a school project, I had to research how was it possible that fast fashion brands are producing millions of items a day and selling them at accessible prices. I came across the words of journalist Lucy Siegel. She said, "Fast fashion isn't free. Someone, somewhere is paying for it." And she was right. I then realized that a lot of the times the inexpensive price tag is possible due to child labor or exploitation practices. Workers are in hazardous conditions and receiving little to no pay. This is a phenomenon that concerns everybody, from those who dye the fabrics to those who get the products off the rack. Big fast fashion companies outsource their production, making them not liable for working rights violations. This has led to catastrophes like in 1985 when an earthquake struck Mexico City, collapsed buildings made visible that plenty of people were working in sweatshops. 32 years later, on the same day, the earth once again shook buildings to the ground, and as the last time, garment workers passed away under the rubble. Official numbers were never reported. This problematic lies in the intersection of many factors, such as ethnicity, socioeconomic group, and gender. In the fashion sector, it is overwhelmingly lower-income women of color who are in these situations. As of right now, I've mainly spoken about exploitation in the fashion industry, because that is how I first became aware of the problem. But the truth is, it can happen in a lot of markets, from tech workers who are exposed to unhealthy chemicals, to farm workers who spend countless hours under the sun to receive starvation wages. This is a matter that extends globally, and whether it is inside a fast fashion factory or in a strawberry farm, we must tackle it right away because it is an attack on human dignity. There's a lot at stake here. We must demand companies to be more transparent and ethical with their entire supply chain. As well, we must become responsible of what we buy and how we take care of the things we already own. The mentality of buying and throwing away things just because we can is a dangerous one. There are a lot of actions one can take to consume responsibly. For example, secondhand shopping is affordable, prevents waste, and fulfills the necessity for a new item without having to resort to unethical brands. And when we learn powerful information about labor rights, let's not only use it to change our behavior, but let's share it with family, friends, and in the massive world of social media. Goal number 12 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is responsible consumption and production. This englobes entirely sustainable supply chains and buyer habits. This is a matter of collective action. Governments must enforce strict labor regulations, companies must be clear and ethical when they manufacture their products, and consumers must use their power responsibly, taking into account if they actually need what they're about to buy and if there are local and sustainable alternatives. We all love to have things that make us feel good, and I believe there's no better way to be proud of what we own than by making sure our purchases are guided by the principles of sustainability and social responsibility. This is a matter that won't be solved until we all stand together against exploitation, whether it is happening in factories across the ocean or right in our hometown. As we move forward, we must ensure that in societies, all individuals have the necessary resources to thrive and live in dignified conditions. For me, labor rights are about one thing: humans taking care of each other, and I believe it is deep in our essence to do just that. This is a matter of human rights. The planet won't move ahead if we don't advance together. It is in everybody's interest to make sure that we protect those in vulnerable positions and eliminate the factors that keep them in those situations. This is real social progress. I am an optimist, and I believe that our humanity will always be able to beat greed and powerful interests. It is time for world leaders, companies, organizations, you and I, to step up and make that happen.